Welcome to the Remodeler Success Podcast, a show created to inspire kitchen and bath industry professionals to achieve optimal success in their remodeling business. Your host, Dennis Oz, is the author of the book, Remodel Your Digital Marketing, an integrated online marketing guide for kitchen and bath remodelers. He's also the founder of RTA Marketing, a pioneer digital marketing agency for the remodeling industry. On each episode, Dennis will sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they learned, and how to find success in remodeling.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Remodeler Success Podcast, where we spotlight the stories and strategies, the systems behind fast-growing remodeling businesses, design businesses, construction businesses. You're in the right place. Today's guest brings a really rare mix of sales expertise, design talent, and digital savvy to our space, to our industry. In just 2 years, she grew her business by over 250%. I'm not kidding, dude. You will see the numbers. We're going to talk about that too. Blending all these kitchen renovations and home flipping and even retail into one seamless experience. You will see her approach is really fresh and modern and highly strategic, and she's making waves in the Ohio market and beyond. So that's why you will see why I'm shaking here, just getting those vibes, just because you will meet her. And without further ado, I don't want to steal her stone. I have Susan Brock here. Susan, welcome to the show.
I am so excited to be here, Dennis. Thanks so much for having me.
Great. Thanks so much for coming. Susan, I'm so excited to start a conversation with you because there are a lot of different things that we can talk today. But I would like to start with your business and foundation. I know that you have great Clover home. You're doing amazing things over there. And I just ask you, I know this company is just really making waves, but what did it look like in the first year when it gets started?
So it's funny. I'm going to go back a few years because it's, no business ever seems like it gets started just right away and then takes off, right? So years and years ago, I started out with my very first sales job. I sold into stores. So I actually sold furniture, rugs, artwork, accessories. I have a background in interior design. And so that was like fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I noticed that the stores in the area were missing out on some of the cool products. Like they totally missed them. Like they totally missed it. So I started with a girlfriend of mine and we had like an event in my house where I brought in a bunch of stuff and then we did an event in her house and that we kind of parlayed that into opening a store. And we had this store open for many years, like before I ever even met my husband. And well, I knew him from high school, but we weren't together at the time. And the store was absolutely fantastic. We were rocking and rolling. And then they put a deli in right next to us and took all the parking, which sounds crazy, but they did. They took all the parking. So closed down the store. We sold everything except for this. I think this chair is one of the only things that was left in the store. So I brought it home because I love it. So, and then my friend got a table. So this chair always makes me think of the store every time I sit in it, which is pretty much every night. So closed down the store and then took that design work and I just did it myself from home for many, many years. And then when my husband and I got together, I continued to do it. I had this and a jewelry line because I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I can't help myself. I also had a full-time job in addition to it, so kind of like putting all the pieces together and trying to do it in the nooks and crannies of the time that you have. But when we got married, and I know people laugh at me and my husband even laughs at me, but when we got married, I brought like several business ideas on our honeymoon. And I'm like, listen, everybody should have a business. I think everyone should have a business. Everyone should have some sort of an LLC. It's just such a great opportunity to do so many different things. So I was like, here's 3 different things that we could do and you can pick. But I think any one of these would be good. And one of them was like home renovations and, continuing on with the design that I love and had done for so many years. And that's what he did. So it was fantastic. But that first year was quite a learning curve because although I had done design work and furniture sales and things like that, I hadn't done as much of the construction other than my own. Like I love to paint and rip out walls and things like that. But it was crazy. And we dove right in by flipping 2 homes. And in the past 6 years, we've flipped flipped, renovated, sold, or cabbed, like I think 8 homes now, and in addition to the ones with our client. So it's really kind of been crazy, right? It's chaotic, it's creative, it's so much fun. Some couple golf, we do demo. And so I kind of run the design side of things and the business side of things, but then when we do have like a personal project that we're working on, like a home flip or a demo to turn it into an Airbnb, then he comes together because he knows how to do all the different things. And I let him work with the contractors for that.
Where the teamwork comes, right? That's where the teamwork just
Yeah. It's so funny because a lot of couples, they are scared of doing construction together. And I have a lot of friends that feel like, oh my gosh, I would kill my husband. But it's so fun for us because we just get to kind of partner together and we each have our specialties and we just go. So it's a lot of fun.
amazing. That's an amazing story too. Well, just like I mentioned in the introduction, I would like to dive a little more deep in that exponential growth that you have created between 2021 and 2023. What are those key strategies that help you drive that kind of growth?
Yeah. I think the biggest part of that growth came from intentionally focusing on new client acquisition. So we were working with like a lead generator service. And we really wanted those who wanted full service support. So we did a lot of things, where we had additional furniture sales, like when we did our house flip, I put together what I called a flip and shop so that we could, it sounds funny when I say it out loud, flip and shop, not a flip and shop. But I kind of coined that term and we had friends bring their friends in so they could not only see the house that we had renovated, but they could also purchase the furniture that we had in there. So I got a lot of clients from that because they could come in, they could see what we did as far as design work. And then we sold all the furniture, but we landed several like major kind of like not necessarily renovation projects, but clients who really just like when I had a client who moved in and they moved into this house with mattresses and pots and pans. That's it. They got rid of everything in their house and they moved into this like 9,000 square foot home with nothing. And so I was able to help them with all the furniture, built-ins in the bedrooms, everything all the way down to their basement. It was the most fun project it was just so much fun. And it was definitely a lot of luck and timing, right? So like people say luck is where opportunity and preparation meet. So that's kind of where we were. We were really in that kind of sweet spot. And my job at the time really allowed me to be able to be flexible and, go meet with clients after work because I still had the mental space to do it. So, and we were building really good momentum and then we had a lot of great word of mouth because I always want to over deliver for my clients. We have a lot of really great word of mouth. So that's and we're kind of in another growth phase, right now. So, which is great.
We'll also talk about that too, but I'm sure a big part of it, Susan, it's probably the systems and the processes you put in place. I would also like to talk about that a little. What are those systems and also the processes that you put in place? How do you compare them between now and then? How did you start it? That was the first, and I'm sure that you don't have much of like, just like you say, you don't over deliver and you don't want to overkill. Uh, You would like an undivided attention for your operations for sure. But I'm sure that you still have systems in place in the beginning and it grows. It just kind of changes during the time over the years. How do you compare those? What was it looking like when it's just get started? How does it look like right now?
So it's pretty similar, actually. I kind of have, I'm a little bit of I, I love digital and tech, but I operate really well with good old fashioned plastic folders. I know it sounds crazy, but I will tell you it is the best thing because I can have like right now, because I clean up my desk every day at the end of the day, but I'm fairly organized. I call it organized dish. Actually, I have training, a course that I put together for it. It's called organized dish method. But I like right now I have my folders out. So I have my leads on my left and my clients that have already like signed off on my right. And so I know that like I just need to check into these and then they go back in the box after I've done my check-in because today's a check-in day. But it sounds a little old school, but physical folders help me keep track of I can put their paint color samples in there. I can keep all the notes. I know, what they signed off to do. So it just really allows you to keep everything in one place. So, and it's really effective for staying organized when I have multiple projects, which I have quite a few right now. For billing and payments, I use Square. So that's really helpful for me. It keeps things simple. I could put together proposal bids for clients. They can automatically accept them. And then, most of the time my clients will pay me in checks. And so I can, just kind of put that information in there, put some notes in there for them. And it allows us to stay in touch, and they can always kind of keep track and see where we are with the project. So that's kind of great. And then I pick up the phone and I talk to my construction vendors on a regular basis. There is nothing like staying in touch, right? It keeps the lines of communication open. We don't miss out on the details. So my contractor that I work with when we work, because my husband and I do the construction when we work on our own projects, but we hire a contractor. We work on clients that we have a contractor that we partner up with, but we don't miss the details, right? So if we just keep those open lines of communication. And then since I was really balancing everything with a full-time job early on, I had to be really intentional with my time, which I really try to be intentional with my time. So I start by breaking each big project down into bite-sized tasks, and I block them directly on my calendar because I feel like if I can calendarize it, I know exactly what I'm going to do. So when I come in for the day, I know that this block of time is when I need to create the 3D design for so-and-so, right? But it's all really calendarized out. It takes a little bit of time to do it, but when you put it in there, then you don't ever have to think, am I going to miss a detail? So I really do that. And then my favorite tool that is what I call my ta-da. It's like a to-do list, but I like to feel like they're already done. So I call them ta-das. So, and it's my focus on my next step. So I have a Sunday calendar event in there that just kind of goes through like what I need to be doing, right? So kind of like my mental thought list of what I need to be doing. So before it's calendarized out on the calendar, it's in that Sunday overall list. And then it kind of gets highlighted and puts onto the calendar when I'm ready for it. But it allows me to kind of keep track. And then recently I just started using ChatGPT for this. So I've got my notes where I can say, hey, if I'm driving, I can open up my to-dos folder on ChatGPT and I can just hit the speaker button and I tell it, hey, add this to my to-do list. So I've got that all in there.
We'll talk more about AI. I have a couple of questions about marketing. You'll go there. But first, I would like to talk about the leadership and responsibilities in the company. A big part of our show here is we are asking our guest speakers to share their lessons learned. And I'm sure that you have different lessons learned from even the previous leadership roles that you have when you're running your company. What are those lessons? What is that most important lesson that you can share with our community right now?
Yeah. So I've got 3 actually for you. So the first one is truly listen to your client. But I need to listen to them, right? Even when they say they don't know what they want, they always have some sort of a vision tucked away, whether it's something they saw on Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook. There's a reason that they reached out and called you to renovate their bathroom or redo their kitchen or find some new furniture for their living room, right? Like if there's something in it that they kind of have an idea, and if you listen closely, they'll give you clues. They'll give you some clues for what it is that they want, whether it's like a paint color or a style or, something that gives you an idea of where to start for them. And then from there, I like taking that spark and elevating it, right? So they might tell me they want like a Western theme. Well, I know they don't want like Roy Rogers running through their living room, right? So I'm going to take it, I'm going to elevate it to give them the design and take what I know and give them that creative spin that they didn't actually know about. But for example, I had a client one time, she wanted purple cabinets. So I gave her purple cabinets, but they were a softer, more muted purple. We combined it with the beautiful countertops and she was thrilled. And it actually looked really cool. Actually, frighteningly cool.
Purple cabinets I never seen. I gotta tell.
I know it's crazy, right? So, I mean, but you just never know. And she was thrilled with the results. So it was very cool. Okay. So this one is to lead with kindness and patience. Kindness and patience. So really listen to them, lead with kindness and patience. So whole projects can feel overwhelming for your client and they're very vulnerable like at this moment, right? Their house is a mess, emotions are high. That's the time when They're going to get into a disagreement with their spouse. They're going to feel like everything's chaotic, right? So we need to be patient and kind with them during this time. And they're hiring me because they don't know how to do it themselves, right? And so sometimes that can come with a lot of frustration. So my job is to guide them confidently through the process, make them feel taken care of, hold their hand. And if they do have the time, and we've all had it, the client who yells or is frustrated or is angry with something going on, our job is to make them feel calm and confident in that moment, knowing that it will be taken care of, right? So kindness and patience go a very long way. And just always keep in mind, like, they're not yelling at you specifically. They're not like insulting you. So just know that it's the situation they're upset with. And your job is to figure out, like, how can you make it better for them? And then the third one is to over deliver, right? So do what you said you're going to do and then take it to the next level. Make sure that they're super happy with everything. In this industry, word of mouth is everything, and trust is your greatest asset. So those would be mine. Be kind and patient, and then
Yeah, we asked for one and we got three. That's amazing. I'm sure everyone is feeling great. No, definitely not. Thanks so much. I'm sure our listeners and also whoever is watching this one on computers or laptops or cell phones are getting great value out of this conversation. And thanks so much for sharing. So I would like to go to the client journey and also sales strategy. Susan, we know that you have a sales background, and I'm sure that you already engineered your client journey from the first contact to the project completion. How does it look like?
okay. So the first thing, and actually I just implemented this just recently. So it starts with an initial phone call. So, and that's where I get a feel for what it is that they're looking for to make sure we're a good fit. And actually, that's what I tell them. I tell them we want to hop on a call really quickly just to get to know each other, to make sure that I'm a good fit for you and that you're a good fit for me, right? So that we can work together well. Because it really, honestly, it's not just about getting clients. It's about getting somebody that you want to work with. Because if you don't want to work with the person, don't it's not gonna be a good fit. That's gonna be your problem client. You're never gonna be happy with that client. If it's somebody that you just get that feeling, then it's just not gonna be the right fit. So that first initial phone call is as much for you as it is for them to feel confident with you. And so that's again where we put our, my listening ears on, where I'm like listening to what it is that they're saying and relaying it back to them, making sure that I understand exactly what it is that they're looking for. And then before we take the next step. But this really kind of helps set the tone. Previously, I would jump right into the in-person interview, but adding this initial phone call beforehand, it has been, I'm not kidding, it has been a game changer for me. So plus then I'm not running all over the place, all the time, just for somebody who wanted just a little bit of free advice. So the initial phone call. And then next we'll schedule an in-person consultation so that we can really connect and get to know each other. We can walk through the space and talk about their vision, figure out what it is that they're looking for. And then sometimes the decision to work with me happens right there. So especially with design clients, generally by the time I'm done kind of going out there and meeting with them and talking through them, and I'll give them like little ideas and tips while we're there, right? But then usually they'll decide right there that they want to move forward. If it's a larger project, we need to go on to the next phase, which is kind of putting together the design. So I'll have like a 3D design if we're doing kind of a remodel, but that comes with a fee. So, so a lot of times there's some sort of a decision being made at this initial meeting. And again, sometimes it takes a little bit of extra follow up, but generally we're, kind of off and running. And then one thing that's made a huge difference for me is kind of us having some standardized pricing. So it removes that awkwardness around money and it gives clarity up front. So it also helps to kind of weed out those people who just want that free design advice and they're not ready to invest. And it also helps with, just like friends or anybody, because then you have your set pricing and you know what it is that you're going to charge for your services. And then from there, communication will really depend on the scope. For a smaller package, it might be just they told me what they want and I deliver the package to them, right? So I give them the link for the product, that they want, or we might do weekly or even daily check-in, depending on the size and scope of the project. So we're usually in touch quite a bit, especially when we're right in the thick of it, in the middle of the details, and staying connected is really going to help your client feel confident every step of the way. Because it's the worst when somebody ghosts you, right? Like, and you're like, are they even doing anything? They took my money and now I haven't heard from them. Then we want to make sure that we're staying in touch with our clients so that they feel confident that we're going to do the job right.
This is amazing from start to finish. That I was a good overview of these processes. I still would like to dive a little more about these qualifications and a lot more non-qualified people that are coming to you asking, even the budget could be good, but there should be some other factors contributing. It's not your ideal client, let's say. And it's not always the budget. Maybe sometimes the type of work that they're looking for is not really your great fit, or maybe out of your expertise. Maybe it's something that you don't really provide. And there are also some other things that might be, even the budget could be a problem. You said it's like a phone call. You made a real detailed phone call with the prospect to be able to understand if they're a good fit. If you dive in a little bit, and if you just talk us a little bit about like how you just really qualify these people, what's your approach on that one. Let's dive a little bit deeper over there.
Sure. So when I'm qualifying a customer, so the first thing I
Yeah.
do is I just get to know them and I ask them, hey Dennis, it's so great to, get you on the phone call today. Oh my gosh, you told me a little bit about your project in the lead, but let's talk about it. Tell me what you got going on. And then I let them talk and then I listen and then I'll ask questions about it. So if they say, oh hey, we just moved into a new house and we're super excited and we want to get some new furniture. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. So do you have any existing furniture or are you looking to redo the whole space? And then again, you let them answer. And then I'll just add other questions. So I really like to look at it like I am, um, I go at it with a mindset of like a service mindset. Like I'm very curious, very consultative, and I just want to ask questions, probing questions, just so that they can tell me what they have going on. So I look at it. I tend to look at things a lot of times when I'm doing sales, like how would I want somebody to treat my daughter or my sons, my daughters or my sons, right? How would I want them to be treated in this process? And that's kind of what I do. And I don't want anybody to be pushy, especially like when they're working with me or somebody else. I really want them to just come from a service mindset. So I just ask some questions and then people get really excited about their project and they start talking about what it is that they want to do. And then I find out, have they done any research so far? Do they have a Pinterest board? Could they share that with me? Sometimes we'll even talk budget. And sometimes I'll give them pricing there. Sometimes, once you do it enough, you can kind of get a vibe if there's somebody who's really interested in doing something or if they're just kind of looking for free design advice. And then, of course, you always get the people who are just, especially I use a lead service. And so especially with a lead service, you get the people that it was in the middle of the night and they were bored and they're like, yeah, I think I do want to renovate my kitchen. Right. And they wake up in the morning and they're like, I don't want to do that. Right? So, but if you can get them, I find that most of the time, if you can get people on the call and get them talking, that's 90% of it. So, and just being super friendly and open with them.
Thanks so much for dropping this knowledge here because this is one of the most frequently asked questions, especially where to say no. And you're always talking about the importance of saying no because you will get to yeses even faster if you say no to the correct projects. Because your power comes from your knowledge and your expertise, just like Susan described. Do not really let other people consume your energy and time just with irrelevant projects or irrelevant ideas. Just like you said, Susan, maybe they're just looking for free advice. Everything price. Your expertise is priceless, folks. Just know this. Your expertise is priceless. And Susan just built all these businesses and all the great client base around her. She has a great expertise, and these big information doesn't come for free. Just know this, and then just like Susan described us, follow that procedure, and I'm sure that you have much more time to be able to get more correct, even better fit projects for yourself. So thank you so much, Susan, for this great advice here. All right, let's talk about marketing a little bit. So right now we have AI, we have even different platforms like House, Home Advisor, Angie. What's your approach to modern marketing these days?
Lately, we've actually been seeing some great success with Thumbtack. I know it sounds crazy because I do design and kitchen remodeling and things like that. I have used Home Advisor in the past, but lately the quality of the leads just weren't the same since they weren't Angie's List anymore. And I find that Thumbtack has a really great prices because, with any of those lead systems, They're just sending it to you. They're sending it to multiple different people. So I do find that those lead generation systems, it's a great investment, especially when you're getting started or restarted, before you. So I have a lot of recurring clients or people that have been referred, but those are fantastic. So, and then we recently expanded our service area on Thumbtack, and we picked up 7 new clients in just the last couple of weeks, which is absolutely fantastic. So it's really been a game changer. So I really love that. That's one of the biggest things I use. House Pro is wonderful, and it's not really so much about marketing, but they have a ton of tools. And so I don't dive into all the tools because I like to keep things really simple. But if you have a team, House Pro has an incredible way you can take a lead and you can assign a project manager for it, and then that person can take it. You can actually connect with your customers in that way. I've built mine out a little bit differently, but House Pro is a fantastic resource. I think it's like $97 a month. But one of the biggest tools that I love that comes with it is a LiDAR scanner. And so I go in, and every time I start a project, whether I'm going to do a 3D design and give it to the client or not, I take a scan of the room. One, it makes you look incredibly professional, right? You look so cool when you're walking around with the scanning the space, and it's amazing how it works. It doesn't go, it's not exact, but it really gives you a good idea of the space, the dimensions, and then you can build out a 3D design for them that helps your clients visualize it. Because most clients they have no idea how to visualize what it is that you're telling them. You could be like, oh yeah, we're going to put cabinets here. We'll put a center cabinet here. We're going to take this bathtub out and move it over here. So I just did this with a client for a large main bathroom renovation, and she could not picture it. And then as soon as I sent the 3D design to her, she's like, yes, let's do it. And then same thing with her husband, like he couldn't imagine it. And then as soon as he saw it, he's like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Right. So we need to give them something. And so that is a fantastic way. So it's not necessarily outward marketing, but it's like marketing once you have the client too, right? You want to make sure that they're excited about what you're doing. So on the social media side, I actually do use
I'm gonna ask you because I see that you do great things on social media. Let's
Yeah, so I do a few different things. One, I'll go live and talk and just kind of talk about what it is that we're doing. So I'll go live. I'll post different things that we do. I'm not always great about going on social media as I should, but when I do, I like to use things like ChatGPT to kind of rewrite the post. So I'll kind of write it, and then I'll be like, oh, hey. So if you don't use ChatGPT is your best assistant in your back pocket that you could ever have in your entire life. And there's another one called
listen, Paul, repeat that one more time. That's your number one assistant. Just
It
you.
is. ChatGPT is your number one assistant. And another one that's really great is Claude AI. And so that's a new one I've started using, and they're fantastic. So you can go into ChatGPT and say, put together a social media calendar for me. This is my business. Here's what I do. Here's what I'm comfortable doing online. I'm comfortable going live. I'm comfortable writing posts. I have pictures to share. So give it all the information that you can think of, just like you're talking to an assistant. So imagine you're talking to somebody and you're telling them exactly what you want them to do. Put together a social media calendar for me. And then I'll say, even like put it in an Excel spreadsheet. First column is the date. The second column is the topic. The third column is a suggested post. And the fourth column is a suggested image or video. And then make it for 30 days. And it will literally, you guys, it will literally spit out exact content that you could do. You can also tell it if you're looking to grow followers, nurture your followers, or sell a product. So it just depends on what it is you're trying to do. But go in, and it gives you a great starting point for what you want to do on your social media. So, and then one of the other tools that I just incorporated as well is called ManyChat. And so ManyChat is an autoresponder. And it's really helpful because the current algorithm on Instagram especially, it has to do with engagement. So are people typing and are they chatting? So with ManyChat is you put a post out and you say, comment kitchen for my free kitchen design remodel. guide or whatever it is that you've got, right? And so they comment kitchen, it boosts you in the algorithm, it shows you to more people, and then hopefully gets you kind of out there for other people. And we've all seen it. You've all seen those posts out there and like got 27,000 chat, like comments and likes. But it automatically sends a tailored response. So you kind of set it up in the background. And then it keeps the conversation going and it gives them a response immediately without me having to be glued to my phone.
This is amazing. And folks, Susan is very humble when she's explaining things. But if you just try to re-engineer without breaking your systems, please don't break your system. If you just try to see what she's trying to do and the things that she has done on social media, it's a great way for you to go and re-engineer without even trying to reinvent the wheel. Try to understand what she's trying to accomplish on social media is really perfect. And as a marketer in this industry for many years, I can tell you that if you would like to see some good examples, just try to understand what Susan is trying to do. And Susan, thank you so much. Look, you're a great example here. You are sharing your knowledge here with your industry peers. And I'm also, advising people to go to your systems and see what you are doing. It's amazing here. Thanks so much for the contribution here. Before we wrap up, Susan, I just wanted to ask you one last thing because I know that you have a big sales experience here, and over the years, you built teams, operational teams. I would like to ask you, what advice would you give someone who's just trying to build a team, right? What would be your golden nuggets for these people about team building, bringing the A players to their teams?
So about team building. So not okay. So trying to build an operation team.
Hiring and creating your team. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I would say just get out there and, get on somewhere like Thumbtack and get to know people, right? So you can go, don't put a lead in because then they're going to pay for it, right? But go in and check out their profile, read their reviews, see what they're like, and then reach out to them and then start a conversation and then get to know them. And so that's where, we find a lot of the different like smaller contractors that we work with, like plumbers, electricians, things like that. And then you're going to meet people out in the industry. Like as you do things, you're going to meet other people or you'll have a client. I have done this quite often. I've had a client and they're like, oh my gosh, I have a painter. I love them. And I'm like, who is it? And I get a recommendation from my client. So they're my client base. So they're in my client world, right? And they're loving the experience they just had. And so there is nothing better than that for me. And then I get to know that person. They go directly into my phone and I try to feed them jobs, right? So maybe it's a painter. We don't paint. But if I have a few great painters that I've got, so whenever I have a client that needs painting, I'm like, I've got the perfect person for you. And I always give their name out and I'm like, and please tell them that, we recommended you because then it lets them know that you're thinking of them and then they'll give you recommendations back. So for example, my contractor doesn't do countertops and he only does low end cabinetry. So if he needs any kitchens, he comes to me. Like any kitchens that are not just stock cabinetry, he comes to me and all of his countertops go through me, which is fantastic. I don't have to do anything except for get the countertops scheduled to go in. And it is just the most amazing thing. So I love it.
Just like Susan said here, we can understand your network is your net worth. That we repeated this phrase so many different times in the show, but just like Susan said, your network is your net worth. And once you have a good plumber, you don't do plumbing here. You're not a plumbing contractor here. Or you're not painting. So try to use these cross connections and relationships just to be able to get more and more seen. And also these people will know you and they will share with you. So this is a great strategy there. Thank you so much, Susan. Wow, that was an amazing conversation here today. And I'm sure you enjoyed it as much as I did. And Susan, thank you so much for being here. Just one last question. If someone has maybe a follow-up question or something like that, without sharing your personal phone number, because it's going to be distributed thousands of people, your website is the best way to kind of get back to you. What is that way? How can we reach out to you if they would like to follow up?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can contact us at hello@Clover Home. It's GRAY, Clover Home. Yeah. So anytime. And I'm always happy. I love mentoring other people. So I've helped tons of women and men start their businesses, not necessarily in home construction or anything like that, but that's kind of was my other job, was kind of like to coach, train, and mentor people, and just kind of help, because mindset is huge in this industry, especially because you get a lot of rejection in this, and you have to understand like how to take it. And if I give one piece of advice really quickly, can I share something? Because we looking for this is huge. So when my girlfriend and I started our store, so I had been in sales, she was not in sales. Like, right, she was the bookkeeper, but she's great at design. But whenever anybody would say no, she would take it personally. And she would be so hurt. And I'm like, you cannot take it personally, because there are a million, trillion, billion, gazillion reasons why somebody might say no. 99.999% of the time, it's not you. Now, if you're not listening and you weren't being friendly, it might be you. But for the most part, it is not you. It has nothing to do with you. Either the design wasn't quite right for them, so we need to go back and listen again and kind of redo the design, or it's more than they thought it was going to be. Maybe it's, they thought it was something they wanted to do, but now they realize it isn't. There's so many reasons why somebody may not move forward with a project or may not choose you, but we can't take it personally. We can never take it personally. And you just have to know that, hey, move on, because that job wasn't meant to be. So.
Well, thanks so much for all this information that you shared today. So then I just wanted to thank you on behalf of myself and our big community who is listening or watching today. And folks, yes, that was another episode of Remodeler Success Podcast. We will keep bringing you these pioneer speakers from the industry. And Susan, thank you so much again for being here for our audience today. We're going to see you next time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
If you would like to generate more leads, please visit rtamarketing.com to get a copy of the book, Remodel Your Digital Marketing, an integrated online marketing guide for kitchen and bath remodelers. This has been another episode of the Remodeler Success Podcast. Thanks for listening.